Well, it's Sunday night. The weekend has come and gone. It's been mildly relaxing. It's been fun. Uh, but I spent most of my weekend actually working. A lot of you won't be surprised by that. But I had a couple of deadlines that I've been cranking away on, and one of them is done. The other one will be finished up, well, around midweek, I think, is the final deadline for that. Um, but it occurs to me throughout this whole process, the last week's been a little bit brutal. I've had 4 or 5 things that have very final deadlines. And why do we call them deadlines? Deadlines sound so doggone painful. Um, Everything we do is associated with a deadline of some sort. And there's a finality to it. That's why they're called deadlines. Once you reach the deadline, there is no moving forward. It's dead. Um, but I think that helps create some undue stress. We've been trained to think a certain way, and a deadline's looming, and we get grumpy, we get stressed out, we lose sleep, we just aren't performing maybe even at our best, even though a lot of people will claim they work best under pressure. I will say the same thing if you ask me, but it's still probably not true. Um, so I'm going to flip the script a little bit, and I think I personally am going to start referring to them as lifelines. And it sounds a little corporate cliche. I brought that up before. I am not one for corporate speak. I hate catchwords, catchphrases that just go along naturally with the corporate world. I hate the word swag, which is short for swagger for anybody who doesn't know. But swag in the corporate and marketing world is the free stuff you give away. That's swag. It gives the people you give it to swagger. And it's the most annoying word I think that's ever been made up in the corporate world, but that's just me. But every time someone uses the word swag, a kitten dies. Just remember that. I'm convinced of that. Uh, and I'm not even a cat fan. That's how much I hate that word. But that said, I've come up with lifelines in place of deadlines. Because, especially in my world, as a business owner, but I'm guessing in most of your working worlds, deadlines are associated with money. If you don't meet your deadlines, you're not going to get paid. That's certainly the case in my world. So if I flip this and call it a lifeline, every time I meet a lifeline, there's a paycheck at the end of that. And that's a little more comforting a thought than a deadline. So I think I'm going to try to adjust that attitude in myself and start thinking of those day-to-day things, those coming and going deadlines as lifelines. And when I think of a deadline, I think of one of the blockbuster movies where the clock's ticking down and everything's going to explode if you don't cut the red wire instead of the blue wire, and all of the associated things that go with that in terms of stress. And, but then I think of it a different way, and I look at the movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley and David Spade. And Chris Farley obviously is a bumbling idiot throughout the movie, but he has we'll call it a lifeline, for his company and everybody that's employed there. And by the end of the movie, Chris Farley, Tommy Boy, turns it around, he meets the goals, he saves the company, and he's a better person for it. And it's all, that's one of the few life lessons maybe to be learned from Tommy Boy, is that in this particular case, the deadlines made him a better person, thus lending itself to the lifeline narrative. So probably the last time you'll ever hear anything positive from Tommy Boy other than it's a funny movie. And it is a hysterical movie. One other life lesson from Tommy Boy is don't put a living deer in the back seat of your convertible. Just gonna throw that one out there too. That seems somewhat important. But I think Lifelines, conversely to the deadline narrative, when you complete a task, you get energy, you feel confident, you feel better about what you've achieved. They lend themselves to problem solving skills. There's a lot more positive to be gained out of meeting a deadline than there is negative. And it goes far beyond just the office narrative of my boss told me to, or I do it, it's part of the job. So start thinking of them as lifelines. Start putting a positive spin on that. Use that as a way to improve relationships with your coworkers or with your clients. Use them as a way to build energy instead of constantly depleting your energy, stressed out with the notion of the deadline. So just a little something to think about on a beautiful Sunday evening. I hope it's nice wherever you are. I've got my glass of scotch here and am going to enjoy the rest of my evening. I'll bring up a quick point about soft deadlines. Things like mowing the yard. Mine's starting to look a little bit like a scene from Jurassic Park. I'm glad it's not a little warmer or wetter, or I would be knee-deep in grass right now. That's a deadline that I have put off for the evening so I can relax for a little bit and start to plan my week ahead. But that said, don't put off those deadlines, those lifelines, until the last minute. Take the positive spin from those and look forward to the challenge of meeting those lifelines, and take the energy from completing those lifelines, build on it, and move forward to the next day. I'm looking forward to the week ahead. I hope this maybe relaxes you a little bit or makes you view the week ahead a little more differently. And have a great night. Have a cocktail if you need one, but not too many. Tomorrow's Monday, and we all have to go to work. Well, most of us anyway. Have a great night.